Hello everyone, this is a tutorial on how to get your Nerf stryfe able to fire or rev, which one you want to call it, without the mag having to be inside and without the little flap. This thing, it fell off. Um, anyway, without that flap, being able to rev and shoot and take off all the trigger locks and everything else, so I will be with you in just a moment. Alright, so the first step is to take the first panel off. Take it off. There's a bunch of little screws on it. You'll be able to find them. The first lock is in here. It is near the rev lock. It prevents your trigger from going back. The second lock is right in here, which also prevents, without your mag in, the trigger from going back. And those are the two locks that I know of. I will be showing you how to take them out. So the first lock, the rev lock, is relatively easy to take out. I pre-loosened the screws so I wouldn't have to do anything. There's the lock. You just want to remove the entire unit from the rev while not damaging your rev. And if your rev accidentally comes out as such and the spring comes out, you just slip the spring back on and stick it back on there. And make sure the rev is able to hit the switch that is located right here, the button on top. You'll be able to find it if you open up your stryfe. Anyways, you put your panel back on, and that is the first lock. Anyways, guys, the second panel is located here. It takes a little bit more effort to get the lock out of this panel because you have to take off all this junk. I will be showing you how to take that off in just a second. Anyways, guys, so the second lock is you're first going to have to take off this bar. Do not lose the bar because it is a very important piece of the gun. Second off, you're going to take your trigger out, which there's one screw for that. The whole set of the trigger comes out, as you can see. Now, the panel of the actual lock component right here. There's two screws. They're not that hard to take off. Remove the panel. Then remove the first component, if I can. This component is not a lock. It is in fact part of the gun. It is important. This little thing in there is the lock. It comes with the spring. If you want to keep the spring, that's up to you. Anyway, you put the other component back in, put the panel back on, and that is the second lock of the Nerf stryfe. The panel to where their magazine lock is, it goes on first, then comes your trigger. It has to go in the sequence, then comes that bar I was just showing you that I said was important. You put your bar on like so. The screw goes on the trigger like so, and the bar screws go onto the bar like so, if I wouldn't lose them. Anyways, you screw on your other little screw right in that hole, and that's how you put together the thing again. Anyways, to be able to mod your Nerf gun so that you wouldn't have to put your mag in, I skipped a step by accident. What you're going to do is, in this little compartment, what I like to do, I don't know what other YouTubers do, I like to push this thing back and put glue into the cracks. Try not to get too much glue. I use a toothpick, and that's about all you have to do to be able to rev without your mag. Okay, like I was saying before, not having to rev before you shoot. This component, once you take out the lock, it should just slide back, hit the rev, and that's what makes you rev without having to push the rev button. I have one more mod, or actually two more, involving the flap and how it doesn't have to be closed in order to rev. What I like to do, if you can see it, this little motor here, I push the button back using glue again, pushing the button back. Then I stuff it with glue, not too much, but enough to keep it back. Then we need quick drying glue for this. Push it back, keep it like that until the glue is dry, and then I let it go. And of course, it's already being pushed. I don't have to worry about it because I really hate having to put down the flap in the middle of a battle or something. Anyways, that's how you mod the flap. I don't know how other YouTubers do it, but that's how I do it. And on to the next mod, which is the engines. So what the engine mod does is it actually overpowers your engine, so to the point where it probably does about 10 times the amount of force as a regular Nerf. So anyways, you're going to take this little bar out, which is relatively easy. Take that out, and then the engine part comes out pretty easy. All you're going to do, you got to be careful with this thing, but all you're going to do is take the engine block out. Let me remove this. A lot of times people take this apart and this thing comes off. Don't worry, it's just a part of the gun. It doesn't break it or anything. Anyways, guys, you take this thing off. I'll be right back with it off. Anyways, guys, you take the engine block out. It's kind of a pain, but I got it out. Usually this thing comes off. Sometimes this little thing comes off. It's okay, just stick it back in there. Now, to modify the engines, see these little black things? Oops, what was that? Oh, a screw. See these little black things? These are resistors. They basically, how should I put it? I guess they would limit the motor's energy level. So all I would do is I would cut these little resistors off with some snips, replace them with copper wire, and that should give you about 10 times the force of your regular stryfe weapon. And that's about it for the stryfe. What I'm about to show you is on the flap of the Nerf stryfe, the little black button right there. This is what I was talking about. You could mod where the stryfe, the flap doesn't have to be down in order to shoot. What you do is, what I'm using is 2p10 glue and the activator. I just use a teeny point of a toothpick or something. You dab it on there while pushing it back, and that's how you mod this thing. Okay, so this is the tricky part. I dab some on there while pushing it back. Now, this is a super tricky part. I'm gonna hold it with my legs. You're gonna push it back. And I'm gonna spray the activator, which activates the glue. I would recommend turning the toothpick so it doesn't get stuck on there, because this is very strong glue. And once it hardens, there's no way of breaking the bond. It takes about maybe 30 seconds to harden a little. There it is. It's gone. Alright, so now you are able to rev without your mag and the flap open like so. And with the flap closed. I hate having to close the flap in the middle of a fight when somebody's rushing you or something. This is very helpful. Yeah, so that's about it, guys. I'm going to show a demonstration fire with the flap open. I do not have the motor modification yet. I will probably have another video on that, but I will be showing you how it works in just a few seconds. Alright, so this is the Nerf stryfe. Mag in, flap up. It works just as if the flap were down, and it works very well. You can take out anything, leave the flap open, and still be able to shoot in time. Without having to rev, I would recommend revving before you shoot. It doesn't give a more powerful shot if you don't rev. So that's about all the mods on the Nerf stryfe that I know of. You can check out other YouTube channels, but that's about it. Thanks, guys.